For many of you out there, including myself, we have been playing this game for a while, which means certain things are just second nature when it comes to how to farm for items or weapons, whatever you're looking for, to how the map works. Now, with that being said, the start of Year 5 has not only seen the return of many players jumping back into the game, but we're also seeing many new players as well. Therefore, today, my friends, we're going to take a few moments and answer some of the questions you most commonly send the channel. What's up, my YouTube family? Welcome back to the Gaming Brigade, and today marks the start of a new series I'm doing at the channel called What Does This Mean? And it is truly designed for new and returning players. Now, originally, the title of this series was going to be I've Just Reached Endgame, now what the am I supposed to do at this point? Because I know for a lot of you out there who, again, are just returning or brand new, that's really what you're feeling when you get to a certain point. So today, I'm going to take some time and go over the basic aspects of farming for loot in the game, and we're going to start with a map and the topic of targeted loot. Now, you can see at the bottom, and I play on Xbox Series X, but at the bottom it says show targeted loot, and when I push up on the control pad, I am then going to see all of the targeted loot that is scattered across the map on a particular day. Now, these rotate on a daily basis, and the large icons represent targeted loot that is in the open world on the map, and the small ones represent targeted loot that is locked behind certain missions. Now, what targeted loot means is simple. It means that these designated areas are going to increase the odds of a certain type of loot dropping for you. So let's say you're looking for LMGs. Today you'd want to farm DCD headquarters because, again, the small icons represent loot that is behind missions on a daily basis. Now, when we talk about the open world, that is what the larger icons indicate. So let's say you're trying to farm backpacks today and you notice, you know what, in the Southwest, backpack is the targeted loot. What that means is that when you're in the open world of this section of the map, the odds are higher of you're getting backpacks to drop. Now, open world means any activity that is not behind a mission. We're talking control points, territory controls, and even just random NPCs that are cruising around. The odds are higher that you're going to get a backpack in that area. So on a daily basis, you always want to check what targeted loot you may be looking for and where you're going to be able to find it on a certain day. Now, that brings us to the difficulty. Now, something I've mentioned in multiple videos, and again, this is for those of you that are new, but the higher the difficulty will always equate to much better loot dropping. So when you're farming for loot, you always want to make sure you farm in the highest difficulty you possibly can. And for those of you that are on the fence between challenging and heroic, I recommend using random matchmaking. Join a group. It will definitely help you out, which now brings us to the topic of directives. And as you can see, when you look at the map for both open world and missions, you have the option of adding up to 5 directives, and that is going to do 2 things. First of all, it is going to increase the XP that you're earning regardless of what you're doing in the game at that point, and it's also going to increase the chance of a certain type of targeted loot dropping. Now, mathematically, the more directives you have should increase the chance of the type of loot you're looking for dropping for you. So to give you an example, let's say you take out an NPC, they drop 4 pieces of loot. The more directives you have should help at least a few of those pieces be exactly what you're looking for as far as the type of loot. Now, obviously, nothing in this game is a guarantee, but anything you can do to stack the odds in your favor, I definitely want to pass along to you. But to be clear, you do not have to have any directives active to get really great loot if you don't want to. It is completely up to you. So now that we've talked about farming in the open world, we're now going to jump to 2 of the most efficient ways to farm for targeted loot in the game, and they are the following: the summit and countdown. Now, starting with the summit, and this holds true for countdown as well, but you can pick any targeted loot you want at any time when you're playing this game. You can switch it mid-floor. It doesn't matter at all. And not only that, when you get to the elevator of the summit, you not only can choose your difficulty, but you also have up to 10 directives you can choose from. Now, there are people in the comment section who are going to say, play heroic, 10 directives. Well, if you're brand new to the game, that's not going to happen. However, because you have the ability to choose from more directives in the summit than you do the open world, you may be able to add a few. So take your time, read through all of the descriptions. And one thing I want to make sure I mention as we move on, in my opinion, in my experience, this is one of the best places to farm for loot in the game as a solo player and use random matchmaking, because you're always going to find people farming in the summit, and chances are when they get loot they don't need, they'll drop it for you. It is a great place to be incredibly efficient. Which now, my fellow agents, brings me to the most efficient way to farm in this game for a ton of loot in a short amount of time, and that is playing Countdown. Now, right now I'm in the process of putting together a new, beginner's guide on how to play this game mode, but I will leave a link to a video I put out a while ago when it first came out. Most of it holds true pretty much, but again, I'll bring you an updated version ASAP. So the first thing you want to do is you're going to go to your map, you're going to hover over Countdown, you're going to open the Countdown menu, you'll pick your difficulty, and then choose matchmaking. Now, once that begins, you'll see an indication on the screen asking you if you want to accept or decline an invite. You accept it, the group is full, and then the leader will start the countdown mission itself. Now, there are two important factors as we move on. First of all, and this is something, my friends, I cannot stress enough, you want to have inventory space in your backpack before you start this game mode. I'm not talking 10 or 20 spots. I mean, usually when I play this, I usually get at least 30 pieces of gear at a minimum, so I always make sure I have 40 to 50 open slots in my bag, because there are sometimes I'm playing, I see an agent just standing there, and I know they're frantically trying to decide what they pick up, what they should destroy, all of that. This way you can just pick up loot, rip through the game mode, and then choose what you want to pick and get rid of when you've completely exited out. Now, the other thing is that, once again, as I mentioned earlier, you can choose your targeted loot at any time you want, and not only that, you can change it mid-game. So let's say you're playing, you wind up getting the bag you're looking for, then you want to switch to masks or ARs, whatever it is, you can do that at any point in this gameplay. So once again, make sure you take advantage of that if you happen to get something you want and then want to move on to something else. Now, all you need to do to make the change of the type of loot you're looking for is open up your map, push down on the directional pad. That is going to show you all the targeted loot you can choose from. Now, I know recently with Countdown, it has not been functioning properly. It's been crashing a lot. Now, this is footage from this morning. This is the first time in a while I've been able to jump in. I had zero problems whatsoever. And as I mentioned a moment ago, it is by far the most efficient way to get a ton of loot in a short amount of time. I sincerely hope all of this information helps you out. And as always, if you have any other questions, comments, or feedback, please let me know and I will do my best to get back to you as quick as I can. Two final things I want to mention that I'm going to wrap this video up. First of all, the other great thing about Countdown is you can earn Countdown resources, and with those you can buy caches in this game anytime you want. You can see them at the base of operations, and I'm going to go to the Countdown requisition vendor, whatever it's called, and you can see that at any point in this game you have the ability to use those Countdown resources, buy exotic caches, named caches, and remember, named caches can include Dark Zone exclusives, so these are definitely things you want to take advantage of. Now, the last thing I want to show you, and this is something a lot of people forget about on a weekly basis, but that you do have weekly projects that can give you a guaranteed exotic cache. You have the weekly summit project, the weekly shade requisition, which all you need to do for that is donate certain resources. You're going to get an exotic cache just for doing that, and you also have the legendary mission as well, which will give you a guaranteed exotic cache if you can complete it. With all that being said, I'm going to start to wrap this up, and I want to take a moment as always and thank you for your incredible support of this channel. As I mentioned earlier, this is going to be the first of many videos I put out, going over certain details in the game. Next, I'm going to talk about recalibration, optimization, your library, all of that stuff. And if you happen to have any other questions that you want answered, please let me know in the comments section and I will put a video together around that. We are a family here and my goal is to help out in any way I can. Like I mentioned at the end of every video I put together, if you happen to be new here, feel free to hit that subscribe or join button. If you enjoyed this, you could hit that like button as well. But most importantly, take care of yourselves, be kind to each other, and we will talk to you soon. Thanks again, everyone.